we got basketball season starting on Monday as we record this. Robert Morris comes to Morgantown for the very first official game of the Darian DeVries era of West Virginia basketball. I just want to real quick talk about what are your thoughts going into the season? What are your expectations for this 2024-25 team?
Yeah, so I think I can speak for myself and really a lot of people surrounding the program. The fan base is I love Bob Huggins. Thankful for everything he did here. But I'm excited for a new chapter. It's funny we're having this conversation now because we just talked about what's the key to get everybody off your back is to win. But then what I'm about to say is you're almost DeVries is let off the hook a little bit this year, if that makes sense. I mean, listen, you got to win some games.
Right.
But I think there's just an excitement, right, of a new staff, a new head coach, a new roster, a new era, if you will, of Mountaineer basketball. So I think it's going to be a good year, and it comes off of a rocky last season with the Hug situation, Josh Eilert coming in temporarily. My goodness, Couz, you want to talk about a disaster of a season? That was last year's basketball team. I mean, it was up, it was down, it was a mess. So I think there's a lot of anticipation. Looking forward to it. I will also say, you didn't pay me to say this, but I'd encourage everybody to watch you guys. I'm really excited to watch it. Hope I can maybe get involved with you a little bit for a couple things here or there. You guys are already killing it, and the season's not even started yet. So if you are watching this because of me, which you're probably not, but if you are, make sure you follow all that because just really excited. Yeah, there's the schedule. And there's some good games on there too. So excited about the team. You know, we've seen one exhibition. We've seen one against the University of Charleston, and I don't know that I've ever been so excited to watch an exhibition game. They did do a secret. You'll notice I said we've seen one exhibition. There was a secret scrimmage close to us. If we would have been able to sneak in for the day, we dropped the ball on that. Be a spy in the bleachers against Wake Forest. Everything I hear on that says West Virginia won that game, struggled early, but maybe won that game and played well. Overcame a rocky shooting start early, but they looked really athletic, played well defensively. So, yeah, just excited about a new era. And looking at that schedule, several things pop out early.
Yeah, I mean, you got number 6 Gonzaga in that I think it's the Bahamas tournament they're playing in this year. I can't remember which one it is for sure. My gosh, number 16. They got the backyard brawl on the 15th of November, third game of the season. I mean, holy cow! Look at that, Jonathan.
Kansas.
I mean, yeah, and they opened Big 12 play on the road at Kansas. Welcome to the Big 12, Darian DeVries. Happy freaking New Year, buddy. look at the date of that game. It's December 31st.
Yeah.
But
in Lawrence.
Yep. But anyway, just I mean, what in your do you have a number of wins in your mind that you think is realistic for this team?
Yeah, that's a great question. Probably one that I need to. Maybe I'm lowering that number as you scroll that schedule. Yeah, I mean, what gets it done? I don't quite know that it's. It's a good question. You know you did well as a host when you kind of maybe caught me off guard.
Okay.
I think 20 is maybe high. I think 15's maybe a little low. Would I be crazy to say somewhere in that 17 to 18 range?
Not crazy at all.
And again, that's that's some tough competition. 17 to 18.
Yeah, that's good. I think I said 15 before I ever looked at the schedule. But I mean, I'm counting, you know, if they win all their bye games, Robert Morris, UMass, 1, 2. If they win the backyard brawl, that's 3. 4 with Iona.
And
North Carolina Central, that's what, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and
Bethune
there's
Cookman
another
6,
one.
Mercyhurst 7. Oklahoma State is below them in the standings. There's 8. Colorado's below them, I think. That's 9. Arizona State they look terrible. There's 10. Utah's 11. Utah again 12. Maybe they get a win over TCU. There's 13. I mean,
Yeah, and it is worth noting
UCF.
too that it's not going to display it there. I should know, but the tournament they're playing in with Gonzaga, they're going to play an extra couple games. I don't know that schedule, but the last I remember, that tournament's stacked.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right. I don't know why they don't have the other opponents on there, but you're right. It is stacked. There's I'm trying to remember who some of the team. There's another Big 12 team in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually. So if I'm just reading this, and I'm not counting Big 12 play, and I'm not counting postseason, I think a good number, Couz, 17.
And I think they get in the tournament at 17.
In that conference, I would say so. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I like the way the travel's going to be tough because they play a lot of the Western teams twice.
Yeah.
Man, they play a lot of teams who were below them in the preseason standings. They play Utah twice. I think Utah was below them, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least near them, right?
Yeah.
UCF. They play UCF.
And I'm going to state the obvious here, Couz, but if you'll go to the very top, you have to win the Robert Morris's at home, the Massachusetts Ionas, though North Carolina Central. You don't have much of a leeway to stub your toe on some of those should wins. I guess maybe we should word it that way, because that's tough. Georgetown's in a tough spot. They've never really quite got that program back up and running, although I believe they're supposed to be a little better this year. So when I look at just maybe 5 to 7 of those games, you just can't afford to stub your toe there.
Agreed.
Because you've got who is that below? You got North Carolina Central, Bethune-Cookman, and is that Mercyhurst?
Yeah, who the heck's that?
Yeah. So you can't stumble on any of those three, and probably even take Georgetown in, because then you've got Kansas, Oklahoma State. You think you're better than, but then Arizona. I mean, my goodness gracious, yeah. And it is tough to go off of just one scrimmage that we have seen against the University of Charleston. I'm concerned about West Virginia's lack of size. That's a concern of mine. So I like their athleticism. I think Javon Small is going to be a fan favorite.
Yep.
Tucker DeVries, Sincere Harris, Tucker DeVries. Again, we're kind of going off of a University of Charleston exhibition game, so that's kind of grain of saltish, right? Because we don't quite know. But my goodness, Couz, they hustled. They played hard. They played energetic. They look like a team that when they rolled out on the floor, they were there to fight. They were ready to play. So yeah, for me, just looking at that, 15 seems low, 20 seems high, so I'd go 17.
Yeah,
but my goodness, that schedule's tough. Goodness,
I'm keeping my expectations at around the 15-16 mark.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate them getting into the NCAA tournament, but if they can get into the NIT in year one of the DeVries, I'm sure the team's not going to be happy with that, as they shouldn't be. But as a fan, knowing that it's a new coach with a whole new roster, new coaching staff, I'm trying to temper my expectations. I'll probably blow that very early in the season when I get mad at a loss, but like I always do. But man, I mean, the Charleston game, what impressed me about them, again, against a Division II school, they moved the ball so well for a team that they did not look like a team that had never played together before. I mean, they looked like a well-oiled machine offensively as far as the way they moved the ball, the way they were cutting, pick and roll. I mean, they looked better in game one in an exhibition than last year's team looked by the end of the season.
And that's a product of coaching.
Yeah. Now, last year's team, in their defense, they had roster changes constantly, guys leaving, coming. So it was just a tough. Last year's team, I give all those guys a pass. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was brutal. But from a basketball standpoint, quality on the floor, what we were seeing, man, they look so well coached. They are. You can look at that team and know that is a well coached basketball team right there.
Yeah, one of the words when you'd asked me that and you popped the schedule up, I just kind of wrote down the first word that come to my mind, and I wrote stability. That was just kind of the first word, kind of caught off guard that came to my mind about the team. Especially after last year, just having the stability of a new coach. So I think it's a product of coaching that they look like they've been together for several years. Now that obviously remains to be seen when you run into Kansas and Gonzaga and Arizona and Houston. But I think there's a new level of excitement for this team, for this program. And from everything we see so far, Darian DeVries seems to be a great hire by Ren Baker, which gets my mind rambling again. Maybe a whole nother episode there, but seems to be a great hire so far, and just excited. Just excited.
Agreed,
really
man.
Excited about the future, and it's going to be a fun year. And again, you can't go and whatever, but I think the fans are going to be a little bit lenient this year after last year and Coach DeVries' first year, and I'll bet you anything there's going to be quite an upset or two in Morgantown this year.
Yeah,
and that's going to be fun. So,
yeah, I'm really hoping to get to a game or two. I try to get to at least one a year up there, so I'm hoping I can.
I really enjoyed when they tried to get one in Charleston.
Me too, man.
And I don't know the ins and outs of that, but for some Southern West Virginia people, and especially in that Charleston area, but for folks like us that are, and there's such a contingent of West Virginia, they used to play in the Civic Center, Coliseum, whatever you want to call it now, and they packed it. So I wish they would do that,
especially when they played Marshall.
Yeah. So wish they would do that, but yeah, I'd love to catch a game. And I know we're not talking about it now, but it's a passion of mine, and I know it's a passion of yours. Let's not forget the women's program either.
Absolutely.
As a father whose daughter plays, my wife played. I have a huge.
I coached it.
Yeah.
Just coached it up until this past spring, man.
Yeah, I have a huge fan of their game, and they're going to be exciting. And so really excited about watching that program and following them and giving them the coverage that they deserve.
Yep, absolutely. They do deserve it. And I'm going to try my best to cover them on Hoops from the Hills or find somebody who can, because they deserve it. They deserve it.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, Jonathan, man, it's been another great show. I appreciate it. Just real quick, tell everybody again where they can find you and your work and how they interact with you.
Yeah, it's all at X, Twitter, X, at Jonathan K. Martin, JONATHAN K. Martin. I try and keep it simple. Do it everything there on X. Articles there, podcast links there. This episode here is linked there. We even link a lot of your work over at your site over there. You can hit the subscribe button and support the work there. And there's some behind the scenes VIP stuff there as well. So pretty much a one-stop shop for a lot West Virginia.
Yeah, and I forgot to plug your podcast earlier. Jonathan does have his own podcast, the Jonathan K. Martin or the Jonathan Martin podcast, I think it's called.
Yeah, just kind of ramble about some leftovers kind of from the week. And so, and there's links to all that on my page. So you can go there and find it all.
Yep. Awesome, Jonathan. Well, listen, we love doing this every week. The bye weeks are kind of fun, actually. I enjoy changing it up a bit, doing something a little different. But next week we will be back to our 3-2-1. Countdown, whatever you want to call it. The 3 keys, 2 position battles, and 1 key player. We'll be back to doing that next week and before the Cincinnati game. But in the meantime, check us out. Check out more shows here on the channel. Check out Who's from the Hills. Check out Jonathan Martin podcast. Check out X. You'll find us all there. Thanks again for tuning in. Let's go Mountaineers. Q Country Roads, baby.